The third and final one, it's a bit of Guehi and Konate talk, which, I mean, if the transfer window goes differently, which we do the deal sheet one, we're talking about it late, a week ago or so, Trev. I mean, it's just crazy. We're expecting Guehi to happen, and it breaks on air, doesn't he, that Palace have pulled the plug on it, basically. So that's a non-starter, and we've kind of sort of progressed over that a little bit. But then, even today, there's a couple of things coming out with Ibu Konate. And I do want to step into his comments, first of all, because the talk from the UK media always sounds good, and we're in talks with his agent. That all sounds great. And then he disappears on international duty and just likes to throw in something. And this time it was a case of, Real Madrid, signing for them. Mbappe's texting me every sort of 2 hours. And it's tongue-in-cheek to French television. But it just wasn't needed or what we wanted to hear, was it?
You look at Ekitike was asked about how he feels about, Isak arriving. And he's just so laid back and saying all the right things. And it's not, I suppose the point I'm trying to make here, it's not difficult to do. And Ibu Konate is a clever boy. And he understands exactly what he's at. And he might come across as like, it's just lighthearted and nobody can say, I didn't say anything. We're just teasing. We're just joking. He may even think in his own way he's playing it down, but that's not the effect that those kind of things have on the fan base. And I'm already seeing unhinged hatred towards the lad because they're already assuming that Madrid are going to do another one of those things where they take one of our top talents on a free or effectively on a free. And we're looking at seeing the boys get another 10 million out of them so he can go there early or something again. And a bit like with Isak, if a lad has made up his mind to go, or if a lad fancies something else, just do it. There's literally nobody who's too big, nobody bigger than Liverpool. No. And we know that the churn is going to be real. Most of us have kind of made our peace with the fact that I actually thought it would be Paris that he'd go to. But I get Real Madrid because it's the PlayStation team. You get a chance to play for the PlayStation team. You're going to do it. Most lads are going to do it. So I'm kind of very at peace with the fact that he's going to go, and maybe Guehi comes in, and maybe it's somebody else, because you and I were talking about the fact that there are definitely other people who are looked at, maybe even thought of as better prospects than Marc Guehi, but just not available. What was the phrase you used on the show this morning? The what was it? Market option or market opportunity. You're right. Yeah. So and I know you're going to get there. We're going to get the Guehi, but just in terms of Konate, I'm just very much if he goes, he goes, and I would like to think that we won't let ourselves get caught with our trousers down metaphorically and not have a plan, a backup. And if it is Marc Guehi and another first teamer, okay, I'm good with that.
Do you know what? We do love a movie reference on our pods, and I can't do Michael on the Steps, but the way you said that, it had that tinge of an Ivan Drago, Rocky he dies type of thing. So, does have a little bit of a feeling on that. And I mean, even in the last sort of 48 hours, we had Ibu's comments, we had Fabrizio Romano talking about the link to Real Madrid, and even about, an hour and a half before we went live, me and you were WhatsApping, because the stories are breaking again in Spain, aren't they, that this is very close, apparently. It's very advanced, the contract talks between Ibu and Real Madrid. Is this just the old classic, there's no smoke without fire in this one?
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because you're watching the stories and they're oscillating wildly between there's no movement at all, and he just keeps rejecting these offers from Liverpool. And then there were some good news stories. He seemed to be saying positive things, or you could interpret the things he was saying as positive. And then he went from having an absolute nightmare of a couple of games to playing really well in the last one. And it was pure Roy Hodgson gif. You were like, and then, because we're hit with that nonsense again today from all corners about how it's a done deal. And it does traumatize people because they think, they're taking one of our players for nothing again. And it's like, all right, relax. If we're letting him go, If he's going to go at the end of his contract, he's going to go. That's how contracts work.
Yeah.
And if he says no, he just wants to sign a new contract. Then he says no, he just wants to sign a new contract. And you can be sure that our boys will be beavering away on who's going to be a replacement. We love Konate. Like I said about the players earlier on in the first part of the show, he's a guy that we have great fondness for. But if his eyes are elsewhere, dude, let him walk away, just like with Trent. And, even less bitterness with Konate, obviously, because it doesn't seem to have that aspect to it. Although, someone check his Duolingo, I'd say.
Yeah, there was, to be fair. As Chris Baskin said, if it's not agreed by Christmas time, he's probably going to have a GCSE in Spanish. I did think that was quite a good line.
That's good.
Nah, not a bad line at all. And people already, like Midnight Toker put in the chat there, Guehi, a much more rounded player. So a lot of people have jumped to that, haven't they? That Konate out, Guehi in, we'll move on, and that's how it'll work. But this came out yesterday that Paul Joyce, Chris Bascom almost together, or, on the alarm. Liverpool, could Joyce be more any straightforward in the title? Liverpool will not try to sign Marc Guehi in January. That is literally the run seal, does what it says on the tin, headline for any article there. Do you buy this right now, or is this a negotiating ploy?
Look, we have proof in recent years that none of these guys know everything all the time. Yeah. And even the likes of Joyce have been really wrong on some big calls. Right. And I think it's too easy to think Ibu goes on a free, Guehi comes in on a free in summer, and it's all good. It's too easy to think we'll go back and we'll pay 20, 25 million. Why would you do that? Why would you do that when you're halfway through a campaign? Unless you're in dire straits. Why would you do that when you can theoretically get the same player for nothing? It's different saying we'll pay 30, 35 or whatever it was for a full season and, set ourselves up with a whole new look. I think already, Dave, the alternatives that we had for Guehi will already be sort of back in play now. And I don't think it's in any way a done deal that we just go straight back for him and take him for a reduced fee at Christmas or a free in summer. I do think Marc Guehi would like that to be the case. And I understand why he would. Yeah. Because I don't think he can blame Liverpool Football Club for what happened there. So I'm sure there's no souring of that relationship or ambition on his front.
No.
But I think he might be just a little bit, he'd need to have to be a little bit wary because Liverpool Football Club will ruthlessly have other big targets that they're looking at as well, who may actually become market opportunities, to use that phrase, at Christmas or next summer.
I think almost in essence that as we're talking this through, and we've said them before on the transfer show, we know Liverpool had a good look at the likes of Van Hecke, Koulirakis, I think it's pronounced, Wolfsburg was looked at big time. Jacquet, the young French centre-half, who looks like an aerial beast at Rennes, they've had a real good look at him in the past as well. But they almost landed on Marc Guehi through a combination of his age, his price, Premier League experience, the homegrown. It all kind of stacked up that there was just a bit more ticks in the box. But I do think we are saying on this that as the questions posed on the screen then, Guehi and Konate intertwined, it just isn't that simple, is it? There's no absolute guarantee that it's Konate out on a free, although we suspect it, Guehi in. Liverpool will almost look again. And actually, in more ways than one, because he lost out on deadline day. But I think we've got to be honest on this. Marc Guehi could be losing out again from a Liverpool sense, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting there. Because this is what I was getting. This is the theme of my contributions to the show. Is like, do not discount further massive churn in the squad. And as Mr. 365 boy says there, if Konate's going, don't we still need another centre half on top of Guehi? Yeah, we do. Yeah. We absolutely do, because we were looking at a situation, you and I, where we were thinking we're going to go into the season, we're going to have Ibu, Virgil, Joe Gomez and Guehi, with Leone as
Yeah.
the promising
Yeah.
up and comer. So, I mean, it's a completely different situation. If we're going to lose Ibu Konate and we get Guehi in, well, we're still in the same situation where we need another who is an absolute plug and play first teamer. And like, we can all delude ourselves that Leone is going to somehow come to the fore this season and be the new Maldini. And Jesus, man, if it happens, no one will be happier than me.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you can't make plans based around that kind of thing because that's fantasy land. So, yeah, I absolutely think we're going to need to get another one in because, and again, let's not be too despondent about this because the lad could go on until he's 37 or 8 or 40.
Of course.
But there's also the realistic thing that maybe Virgil starts winding down as well. So we do need to have pieces in place for this succession building, succession squad building to stay relevant, competitive for all the big pots and have that ability to roll into the next season, add another piece. But not as drastic maybe, but just I think there's going to be more recruitment in the centre half category. And like you, man, I think, unfortunately for Marc Guehi, it might necessarily be him. I'd be delighted if it is, but it mightn't be now.
You're right. And it almost feels like if it is Marc Guehi, which we'd both be happy with as an option, it might be that he's still ultimately third in the pecking order when Liverpool look at what they want to do and how they want to balance that squad. And I suppose I do want to finish on this because me and you obviously run the transfer show. We do that. And this summer was unprecedented in terms of anything else that we've seen. But we kind of thought, well, that you'll never see the likes again, that type of thing. But if we're saying that Freddie Woodman has this year, Robbo likely to leave on a free, the big question mark around Ibu Konate, you never know what Alisson wants to do after a World Cup with a year left to go as well. Endo to depart, Joe Gomez to potentially depart, Bajcetic. And then, I mean, you can start working through the contracts of people that have got a few years. Like, there's still that big Chiesa question mark as well. You know, that there's players in the squad that have got question marks over them, Trev. It could just well be a crazy busy summer or January all the way through, couldn't it?
Yeah, I don't see a way the churn doesn't continue because it's going to be a mixture of the likes of Konate who may want to walk. Like I said, we may not want to hear this, and maybe I'm maligning the lad, but we might have someone like McAllister who's an automatic first teamer who might want to walk. So if you are in that situation, then the churn is kind of forced on you. And then there are loads of lads there who it's probably best for them and the club if they're moved on. So there is no way that the churn does not continue. No way. And I think people just need to make their peace with that because it seems to be the way we're headed now. And whereas we'll always have, hopefully, that continuity of some great lads, like you say, even the likes of Ali, we've both heard different things. We know he's happy there, but he's lost all his Brazilian pals. Maybe this is his last year. The potential for change around is massive, and I think to think there won't be a lot of it, I think you might be missing a point.
Yeah, and I think a certain young Marmadashvili might have something to say about his future if, Alisson stays. So, honestly, people, when you look at the big decisions, contract conundrums, there's going to be people departing. I think that's it. I think you're going to see quite a bit of churn this summer. Isak, you may well be waiting until Palace to see serious minutes because when you have no pre-season, when you are involved in the saga of the summer, such is the football life. And Guehi and Konate intertwined, it might just not be that simple because we may have to brace ourselves for Konate departing, maybe Marc Guehi not getting exactly what he wants. Whether we want it or not, gear yourselves up for more of the churn coming next summer as well, which we, of course, we'll look forward to on the transfer show as ever. And January will come before you know it as well. All it leaves me to say is, for answering all the questions, going through the debates, throwing a few things into the hopper and bringing your points of view, Trev, as ever, no, you're not 100%, so it is muchly appreciated.
That's tremendous, man. Always enjoy doing this show, our chats, regardless of the actual format of the show. Really enjoy it. So thanks to yourself as well, and look forward to the next one.
And ladies and gents, that was another Big Decisions Anfield Index.